Is reading music an absolute must for playing guitar? Today I give you all of the pros and the cons and also my opinions about reading music, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome, friends, to episode 152 of the Play Guitar Podcast. I'm Lee, and this is the podcast that's determined to make you a better guitar player. No matter if you're just starting out or you've been playing for years, this is the show that will help you become the guitarist that you always wanted to be. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and check out the description for all of the links from the show. The question is, do I need to learn how to read music to play guitar? Nope. I guess I'm going to call it. That's a wrap. Thanks for joining me for that. I think I may go back and put a little outro music there. That's all it is. There's just a joke. Here's what I'm doing. I've had an idea for a while, and I wanted to have a resource for beginners and for career beginners who have a lot of these questions. And it's some place where they can go and get some knowledge quickly and quickly fill in the holes, and just from, just listening to these things, get something that will bump them up to the next level. And so what I've come up with is an audio FAQ, frequently asked questions. I like to do these, maybe one of these a month, and pick one of these questions that I get asked over and over again, and for good reason. These questions are stumbling blocks. They're not something that it comes up in regular lessons or online stuff. And there are things that could be holding you back from moving forward on the guitar. And I like to have a place where I can put all of them. You can quickly listen through all of these. And by the end of your time listening to these audio FAQs, you've been bumped up to the next level. A lot of the things that were holding you back are gone. That's my idea. So this is the first one. And this is the big question here. Do I need to learn how to read music? And I gave you my quick answer. But the second part of that is, but I highly recommend it. Let's talk about it. So some people carry the fact that they don't read music like a badge, like they hold it dear. I don't read music. Like if you were able to read music, it could steal some of your coolness, right? It would take something away from you. And I've always thought I've always thought that's a byproduct of something. Because when we all start, we have a genuine openness to be able to learn this thing. Just show me what to do and I'll do it. And that was for years, maybe not so much now, but for years, going and buying a book, a method book, some of the old beginner method books. And they start you off reading music and playing simple melodies. Unfortunately, those melodies aren't the coolest things. In fact, they're the complete opposite, usually, of what you want to be playing as a beginner. You want to sound good, you want to get a piece of that good stuff, right? So I always thought that these are kind of extremes, the starting music with some, I wouldn't say lame, but some not so cool melodies, to the other, I don't read music and I'm only doing the cool stuff, right? And the sweet spot is somewhere in between. And we're going to talk about that today. The other big opposition I found to reading music is the dread of having to do tons and tons of work, tons of practice. And that is something that comes from a very easy clarification. There's a big difference between reading music and sight reading music. Think about that. So Reading music is just understanding how it works, how to be able to look at the page, see a note, and be able to play that on your guitar. And understanding that, having the knowledge of how something works can only help you. And it won't steal any coolness from you. Okay, it helps you by leaps and bounds. It helps you understand how all of this works. It's a great tool. And understanding how to read music, it's relatively easy. It doesn't take a whole lot. Sight reading, on the other hand, is difficult. It takes a long time to master. Sight reading is put a piece of music in front of you and go. Right? Even, at the beginning, even a simple piece of music, if it's like 1, 2, ready, go, and it's the first time you've been seeing that, it's very tough. It's a very tough thing to do. So I'm going to go through, here's what I'm going to go through. I'm going to talk about, we're going to talk about styles of music and reading music. And we're also going to talk about what does standard notation do for you? What are the good things in it? And then at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about reading music versus reading tablature. And tablature, if you're new to the guitar, it's like a player piano. Basically, you have 6 lines that are the 6 strings, and then you'll see numbers on those lines, and you read it from left to right. And as you go forward in time, you play those numbers in a row. And those, depending on what string it is, and those are the frets. So it's kind of like do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Okay, so it's a little bit different than what you're all used to seeing with the the eighth notes and quarter notes and the all of that stuff. So that's what we're going to go through. In fact, let's go ahead and start that right now. Styles of music. Well, it depends. And as it relates to this question, the question is, do I need to learn to read music to play guitar? And it depends on what style of music really that you want to play. That's part of it. If you're going to play rock music and popular music, the honest answer to that is it's not necessary at all. You don't have to be able to read music to play these things. Most don't. Most of the people who wrote the music, who perform the music, don't know how to read or write music, standard notation. And I learned this the hard way. When I first started playing guitar, I was learning, and I wasn't learning the songs I wanted to go. So back then, you go into the music store and they'd have sheet music. And you'd see all these songs that you really like. And you go, oh, if just for $5 I can buy this sheet music, and I'll go home and I'll learn how to play this song. Well, I did that. I bought a bunch of them, and I would take them home and I would learn exactly what they said. It would take a long time, but I figured it out. And what I found out is these were what's called the easy version, right? And it's just kind of like this really basic melody, and there's none of the actual cool guitar rhythm parts and anything like that. It's just the basic chords, kind of a lead sheet version of these songs. It was not what I was wanting to play, right? So after that, I discovered tablature, and there was a lot more for that. But at that time, not near as much as what we have now. But tablature has its own problems too, which we'll talk about in a few minutes too. So rock or popular music, no, you don't have to. Does it help? Sure, it does. You can start to understand why, when you see things written out, why things work. And we'll get into that in section 2. Let's talk about, how about like jazz, right? If you're going to play jazz guitar, I would say you would have to know how to read music, not sight read, but read music. Even if it's just the basic, be able to read the basic melodies. A lot of, the real book, fake book, all of those things. You have a basic melody, and then chord charts is how most of jazz is structured. Until you know the song so well, you don't have to do that anymore. But you do need to know that to know the basic melodies. Is also, there's a lot of key changes in jazz music, which you don't really have as much in rock or popular music. So even if it's just to be able to see where the keys change and then see how in one key you're playing a B, and then the next key you might be playing a B flat. It makes it very obvious where the key changes are and what you need to do, what you need to change to be able to hit that new key. But how about like classical guitar? We don't talk a lot about classical. I'm not a classical guitarist. I'm a rock and jazz and all of those things. But in classical guitar, I would say 100% you need to know how to read music. It's based around that. You're playing other people's songs. You generally not improvising at all, except for, your arrangements and those kind of things, putting your own spin on it, of course, but not improv in the sense of, jazz or something like that. And also you will be doing more sight reading and practicing that way. So classical, yes, definitely. So let's talk about standard notation. What does it do for you? Well, when you think about it, standard music notation is pretty fantastic in what it does. It's a blend of a lot of things. It's a ton of important information in a very small package. It's something that's very easy to look at and understand what's going on at the time. And you find that out not at first, but as you get used to it, it's a very easy way to digest a piece of music. It's the perfect blend of notes and rhythm. And you can see the exact rhythms that need to be played and the exact notes that need to be played in a very quick glance at the page. But you get more than that. It's not just that. That's the big thing. You also get this information: key signatures, time signatures, dynamics, how loud, how soft, an easy way to visualize repetition in a song. You can visualize harmony, how chords are formed across different melody lines. You can have 3 or 4 different melody lines and see the chords that those different lines those different parts are forming right in front of your eyes. So you can see how the song is formed. It's very neat. It's also a very easy way to jot down your own ideas quickly, very quickly. And last, but definitely not least, being able to read music, it's a new language. And you're able, through this, to communicate between all instruments and voices too. It's a way that you can relate to others and play a piece of music perfectly. And you may not even speak the same verbal language as well. But there's one big con for us. Maybe not for everybody else, but for us. And it's not based on the guitar at all. It's not. The guitar is a different animal than what's normally, the piano or a horn or something like that. The guitar, we have to do a little more work to make sense out of that. And I think that's why so many people don't go for reading music, especially at first with guitar. And they go for tablature, and that's going to bring us into our next section. So tablature, we talked about before. It's, you play a note on a fret, the D string at the 10th fret, you write a 10 on the D string. Then you go to the next one. And so it tells you exactly where to play something on the guitar. You don't have to guess. You don't have to even know the name of the note that's being played. Okay, see that right there? You can play something without knowing what you're doing. You see where that's going to take us, right? Think about it on down the road. Okay, I'm playing this song, and I go and I get the tablature. Hopefully it's correct. Not all the times, as you guys have found out already. And it says play 10, 10, 15, all the different things. And you do that and you see where they are on the guitar, but you don't know the names of the notes that you're playing. You know they have names, but you don't know what they are. You're just you're just doing it like a player piano. You're just on autopilot. And that will get you one thing. It will get you to play that song. But it stops you right there. You can't take the ideas behind that song and use them in your own music. You can't take the reasons why someone played that song in the first place and make them your own. If you get lucky, you can if you have a really good ear. But if you just knew the reasons why, what the names of the notes are, and how they relate to the chords that are being played at that time, then you get the good stuff. Then you can start to incorporate those in other songs and in your improv, and then do things to them. Make them your own, slightly change these ideas. Your tablature cuts off the ideas. There's a couple more things too. Standard notation, you can see things really well. You have a strong visual representation of the melody, how it goes up, how it goes down, if it skips notes, jumps around, those things. But in tablature, you could have that. You could have the same melody, and you could play it in two different positions on the guitar. But on the page, it wouldn't look the same. You wouldn't immediately recognize it as the same melody. It'll be on different strings. It'll have different numbers. It's not as recognizable. But with standard notation, the melody is only written one way. There's only one way to write it out. And then it's up to you as a guitar player to know how to play that in different places on the guitar, in different positions. How about rhythm? Rhythm is a big problem with tablature. It's terrible. It's complete. Usually it's completely not even referenced, right? It's like I said before, it's do this, do this, do this, do this, but it doesn't tell you do this here, wait a little bit, then do this here. It doesn't, it just assumes, tablature assumes that you know what the rhythm of the song is. And we all know when we start off playing guitar, we don't always know that. And we don't always, most likely, you're not well versed in rhythm at all, because go online and look up guitar stuff, and there's very little that deals with when to play something. It's always what you play. Okay. So, but sometimes in tablature, you'll see some slash marks for strumming patterns and those kind of things, but that's about it, right? So in standard notation, you get the exact rhythm, exactly when it's supposed to play to a click, right? Or to a pulse, 4/4 or 3/4, however, whatever the time signature is, and then the tempo, which usually is at the very beginning, right above where you start playing. So I want to stop right here. I don't want this to go on too long. What I wanted to do is have the common question, answer the question, and give the reasons why, and then let you take it from there. What I'm hoping that you got from this is that reading music is not a bad thing. And there's a lot of value in just understanding how to read. You don't have to be great at it, but if you just understand how it works, you're going to get some really important information from that will help you, definitely help you. And reading tablature is also important too. Neither of them are perfect. especially for guitar players. But being able to do both and to see both. And in fact, I love like Guitar Pro. That's what I use is Guitar Pro. And even if you just put the tablature in it, it shows you the standard notation above it. So you can start to relate those two together. It's a good way to get started with reading music, to mess around with that kind of stuff. So, okay. So there's our first in their FAQ series. If you have any other common questions that have never been answered for you that you would like to hear in one of these series, just send me an email. It's lee@playguitaracademy.com. And I'd be happy to go ahead and add your question to our frequently asked questions audio podcast. Okay? All right. So I'm going to call it today. That's a wrap. Thanks for joining me today for the Play Guitar podcast. Make sure to hit the button below to subscribe to the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell so you can get all of my content as soon as it comes out. For more episodes, lessons, and ways to get involved with the Play Guitar community, visit playguitaracademy.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next episode.